Okay, so Tom, how did you prepare to reprise your role as Henry in KCD2, and what were you most excited for?
In terms of preparation for reprising the role of Henry, firstly we had a huge day-and-a-half long talk from Dan, the lead creative, and Prokop, who's one of the lead story writers and lead designers on the game, and they sat us down. We hadn't seen them probably for about 2.5 years in the interim between KCD and starting the second game. And they just talked us through the main skeleton of the story, which was pretty much in place even then. This is probably like, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago. So even though lots of elements have grown and changed over the kind of evolution of the game, the basics of the story were absolutely in place and haven't really changed. So from there, I had a notebook, and they brought me a notebook. So I kind of thought, okay, clearly I'm taking notes. And I've still got the notebook. I wrote down notes for the kind of main body of the story, and it was a really useful thing to reference back to as we were kind of going through the game, so the making of the game itself. But in terms of the character, it's an unusual one because unlike TV and film and theatre, which makes up the majority of my work, I've spent so much time playing this character, literally years more than I've spent playing any other character. So he kind of exists in my bones, and it's kind of, I guess it's not where you say goodbye to other characters because you're no longer playing them, but with this character, he's been a real mainstay of my working life. And so in terms of who he is and how he sounds and those sorts of things, it's been a real surprise how much that just remains in my system. So in that respect, there wasn't a huge amount of kind of preparing because the story also picks up narratively almost exactly from where the last game ends. So there's not some great change in him. There's a huge change within the game, the new game. But in terms of between the two games, there's kind of no change. He's the same person.
Are there any personality traits that you share with Henry?
Well, in terms of who Henry is, he's entirely created by the writers and by Dan, and and it's my job to kind of move towards that character and become that character, not to kind of make him move towards me and become me. But in terms of like what we share.